And that also screwed up my timetables because I thought it was really late at night. And the guy's like, I'm at an Indian restaurant. Why are you calling? And he's like, because you gave me this number over Christmas. Well, is it Christmas?
What I'm learning from all this is just to find more Irish movies. So that way we can get Irish Hop.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello. Hop said, shut up and start recording.
Itisdpayne said, I've seen the way this stuff ruins families, and I said, I have something to share. I have thoughts on my brain that I need to get them out. I don't want them in here anymore.
Look, we watched a cozy family movie.
And everybody, if you're watching this one on YouTube, put in the comments below what movie you think it is. If you're listening through it on an audio source,
yell out right now, wherever you are.
You guys know it's the A24 movies.
Yeah,
so pick
Hop just needs to let it go. Okay?
Pick the wholesome family A24 movie. There are so many to pick from. Which one will it be?
A Ghost Story 2. This is me stalling to find the fact sheet again.
It's pinned.
Yes, but it was...
And I think I highlighted... Because this episode is episode 11.
We're so, out of order. Did we do one for Midsummer?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I remember saying it was fact 11. You said, no.
That's right. Okay, I'm reading it. Okay, yes. So, number 11. In 2016, 3 films distributed by A24 received Academy Awards. Best Actress, Brie Larson in Room. Best Documentary Feature, Amy. And Best Visual Effects, Ex Machina. Hey. Only one of those movies made our list.
Yes. I was so scared because I know the actor for this movie won an award for his performance. And I don't think he had a bad performance. Mm-hmm. I know we're not supposed to talk about the movie yet. What's your little blurb before we get into talking about the movie?
I don't know. It's, well, here, since we need a cozier subject, let's talk about something real fun. What are your views on... Was that...
Great sentence to start.
No, I've been, snacking a lot, and I've been finding out that applesauce actually is pretty good, and not just for babies. I
like it without added sugar. I'll get no sugar applesauce because I don't like it very sweet.
Do you like a little cinnamon action, or...
I don't usually buy it with the cinnamon, only because I don't like not being in control of how much cinnamon is in the applesauce. Mm-hmm. I've also made my own applesauce. I used to be good at it, and then the recipe I used to use, for some reason, started to get slimy. And I don't know if it was the batch of apples, but it's really put me off of using that recipe again. Understandable.
Yeah, I feel like a child because Aldi's has the pouches, and it's 2 of those. It's I'm like, there we go. I'm good. And
I've seen people, they get the refillable squeezies. So you can get the thing of cheap, big batch applesauce and then fill it into
I didn't know there was refillable ones.
Yeah, maybe check Amazon. I don't know how the cost plays out versus Aldi's. I'm sure, compared to more expensive grocery stores. And if it's, if you have 3 kids, then it really,
I have 3 kids? Where are you hiding?
You might be eating 3 kids worth of applesauce pouches.
Oh, I'm really glad you finished that sentence. You might be eating 3 kids. Ooh.
You might be Army Hammer.
I'm getting in the news.
At the point of recording, Dune 2 has been out.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked with some people at book club about, Dune 2. And I just, I haven't watched it myself yet, again, at the point of this recording. But what I will say is I was complaining about Timothée Chalamet, and they're like, what did you see him in? I was like, Lady Bird. They're like, well, that's not fair to him. And I was like, he was awful. He was a terrible character. But also that, anytime I see him, he's kind of just, it's kind of like Marvel actors to me. He kind of feels like the same kind of guy. Even in Dune 1, I was like, yeah. I don't know.
He's present.
Yeah, I don't get, crazy acting skills from things I've seen him in. But one of the people in the book club was defending him because they like Call Me by Your Name. And I was like, well, I personally haven't watched that because Army Hammer might be a cannibal. And someone was like, what are you talking about? Like, he eats people? I was like, oh, yeah, there's the messages where girls were like, maybe he likes to bite, but, like, more than just, like, bite ladies. And then we started going into a discussion about how his family is, like, so old money crazy. Like,
They're vampires.
Yeah, it's, like, scary. And they're like, okay, well, we watched the movie before Army Hammer stuff, so...
I remembered something I'd like to talk about recently. Okay. And then this has nothing to do with any of the things we just talked about because I was like racking my brain. But I could save it for next. Here, I'll write it down. I'm going to save that for...
Is it going on a sticky note and going on your monitor?
It's going... Hold on, I got to make sure there's nothing incriminating on here like my address.
Guys,
no.
Keep an eye out. He might show off his social. Or his tax ID number.
No, that's just something else. All I'm going to show off here is my Call of Cthulhu initiative thing that we recorded yesterday. But I'm going to write it on this piece of paper.
Not with your address on it on the other side, right? Because it's an envelope.
Yes. But it does say important information enclosed, which is enclosed on the other side of what I'm going to write here.
Prepaid postage stamp. Oh, no.
All right. I have written it, and I have to keep that paper anyway because, well, there's stuff going down in the in the Call of Cthulhu podcast stuff.
Look, based on our recording schedule this week, you won't have to wait so many days to
bring
up the topic again.
Yeah, but I don't trust my memory for 3 days.
Okay. I'm going to start putting it into my memory.
Yeah, no, I wrote it down, so it will be there, and I'll hopefully this little thing will remind me. Like, my brain is so, like, scattershot right now, where it's, like, the fact that the charity thing that I was going to be working on is kind of taking a pause. Like, the creative juices have started, like, began working on other things besides I need to figure out how to make a 3-hour show every week. and now
that energy.
Yeah, and so it's like now my brain's like, hey, remember that game you're working on? I'm like, uh-oh. And so there's a lot of notes being written on my phone when I should be working.
You freed up a part of your space in your brain. You're like, I can't have this space be empty. Projects.
Exactly. It's between that and other stuff that I don't particularly like to have in recorded sessions of, like, you know what it is. That, like, I mentioned it to you, of other projects.
I haven't started my foray into that project. I should. There's about a month left.
A whole... Uh-oh. Did I break something? Let's start before I ruin something here. I'm... You know what? Hold up. For everybody, in 2 weeks, you will understand why my brain's so scattered. But until then, we're talking about a movie called Locke.
Wait, 2 weeks? What's happening in 2 weeks?
Next week is Kathy. That's right. Life After Beth.
Oh, you're thinking about the next movie? Is that why you said 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For us recording it, it's only going to be 3 days, but for the listener...
You'll find out our secret in 2 weeks. Yes. Tune back in.
Yeah.
To the witch.
Yes. And then the week before that, and we'll say it at the end, we have special guest Kathy. She's coming on for Life After Beth.
L-A, I don't know. I don't have a third finger to make a B.
That's something. Except it were reversed.
Yes, Itisdpayne did announce the movie for our 24 episodes of watching A24 films for the year of 2024.
Hey, we're at the halfway point. This is episode 12.
Not yet. 11.
Stupid Excel sheet. I don't even think we said that when Kathy was here because we didn't register it because it was the second episode recorded.
Yeah. No.
Or the third.
But yes, so yeah, we watched Locke.
Yes.
I have opinions.
I this is the fastest Hop pretty much said shut up and record. I gotta get stuff off. It's normally my brain that is overfilled with stuff.
Yeah, I did the thing where I said I want to be more intentional with my time, and if I devote my time to something, I'm going to pay attention to it. So I didn't pick up my phone during the movie, and I went, I could have picked up my phone. I'm sorry if you like this movie.
You're fine.
I feel like Maddie.
I will say I'll save it for when we get into it.
Okay. So
since this was such a horror, are we gonna roll D100s?
If you want to roll a D100,
No.
we love an excuse to roll more dice.
Yes.
Spoiler warning now. Sorry.
Let's hold up. Hold everything, okay? Hey everybody, we're gonna get into spoiler town, okay? But before we do that, we're gonna roll some D10s, and by D10s I mean D20s. We're gonna roll some dice.
D100s.
Okay, we're rolling D100s. Okay, y'all heard it here first. We're rolling D100s, because since Hop has thoughts and probably had a sanity break while watching this, the lower number is going to be the one who is going to share the synopsis of Locke.
Because Call of Cthulhu rules.
Yes, because of Call of Cthulhu. We're big nerds. We love games, especially ones that have dice and confusing mechanics. Just like some of our titles. But anyway, we're going to do that. Then we're going to have a 30-minute timer where it's going to be super spoil town. And then after that, closing thoughts. I almost dropped my phone. So, with that...
I sent you my number that I rolled on my digital.
Oh, I'm not looking.
Dice.
I'm not looking. What did I roll? This is probably for the best. I rolled an 86. Hop rolled a 91.
I didn't want you to think I was a liar and told you a high number because I love this movie.
You love this movie?
I love it.
I'm just going to say...
I love straight men. Their audacity and ego is fantastic. They don't need therapy.
Well, now that we got all the spoilers out of the way, now let's. So, a quick synopsis of what we watched. Man gets in car to go visit a certain somebody, and then we find out how terrible of a person he is along the way while he just sits.
Gaslight, girl boss, gatekeep.
Yeah, hashtag. We love a realistic hero. Anyway, I'm starting the timer before Hop explodes.
A protagonist, some may say. Maybe even an antagonist.
Okay, here. The timer started. Go ahead, go.
He's so pro, I'm anti.
Go ahead. Timer started.
After I finished this movie, I looked up what the reception of this movie was, and it's very highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. And every positive review I found was the directorial choices were awesome. And I was like, is everyone forgetting about the fact that he's a terrible guy? And the moral of the story appears to be that at the end of the film, everything's going to be okay because of the decisions he's made. Cue happy music.
We don't have the funding for that. You know what would have been great if the movie ended? Today is going to be the day.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. There was a lot of build-up to... No. Let me reverse this even more. I read a lot of contemporary fiction with a lot of terrible people, and I'm okay with reading about terrible people. But usually when you have terrible people, they have... He does have consequences. Consequences isn't the word I'm looking for. But by the end of it, you can tell that they either wallow around and stay to be terrible to people, or they contend with the fact that they realize that they're a terrible person. This main character is a terrible person who never listens to anybody else, and therefore just makes me go, I've met this person in real life, and this is exactly how they would act, and I didn't need to spend 90 minutes listening to a guy go,
Whoa, it's 85 according to Wikipedia.
I didn't need to spend over an hour in a car ride that ultimately leads to a character being allowed to just, I don't know, like, it felt like deep shallow is how I'll put it. Like, it wanted to be really deep and really introspective about the condition of the humanity and like personal belief systems and morals and what's right and wrong, but then it doesn't do anything with any of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any of those deeper themes and like do anything. So it's like it's fake deep because they introduce all these problems, and then it ends up shallow because they go, and that's just how life is. And I'm like, there's more to life than just I'm going. And I saw one person's review or one person's take on it is like, it's about how the car is life and you have to keep going and everyone's yelling at you and making you feel bad for your choices, but you have to keep making them anyway. And in the end, you'll get there. And that's life. And I was like, this is why I hate straight men.
Well, guys, I think this is going to be the last episode of the podcast because I find out that Hops has very strong feelings against me. So
I date straight men, so
I don't.
But again, I don't know if I don't know if I have a predisposition to hating straight men, so therefore this movie is not for me. So you as a straight man can tell me.
No, the dude's a dirtbag. Like, it's...
Yes, like, I was trying to talk about it with Strider, and Strider's like, it doesn't sound like they make him out to be a good guy. I'm like, they don't. But then there's nothing. Like, in The Whale feels like a similar setup for a movie. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of awful people in The Whale, and even the main character, you feel bad for him, but he still has made terrible choices in his life. And then it adds up to something. Like, there's a clear lesson about forgiveness and growth and change. And then in this, it's just like, I did it. My building's gonna be built. I'm like, who cares about your ego? I know the building is a euphemism for your, like, manhood. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's not really interesting, but it was something that I thought was humorous, of just all the qualities that he is like, no, like that I forgot the dude's the boss one that's like Detroit. It's like F Detroit.
Bastard in his phone.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Not Donald.
Starts with a G.
Gareth. I had to look at the Wikipedia. But yeah, pretty much like even though the whole, like, pretty much Gareth is trying to tell him like all these good factors about him. Even Donald at certain points is like telling him certain things, but it's like all the things that he's celebrated for in the workforce is what's ruining his life in his personal life because of everything. And it's like it made me laugh because he doesn't get it, because he's not taking blame for him. Like, he's not looking at himself.
He's not taking responsibility.
Because there's a couple different scenes, which it's interesting. Like, I thought this was interesting when he's just driving and he's just yelling at the back seat, which it's like the ghost of his father. And he's just saying like, Dad, you're such a screw up, but no, this is what you do. Here's my plan. I'm going to do it. And he's going through all this stuff. And then it's like Donald calls and it's just like something was wrong. It wasn't the right type of concrete. And then like
he asked the stupid question. He goes, how much can it go towards C5? Because, and he's like, what does it say on the fucking board, Donald?
Yeah.
C6? So what kind of fucking concrete do you think you need, Donald? C6?
C7?
If you fuck this up, I'm gonna kill you. If you fucking threaten me. Like, okay. Like, I like the sidecast. The sidecast, to me, really was the only grounding thing about this. Like, yeah, it's not that, like, Tom Hardy.
Ivan Locke.
Yeah. It's not that Ivan Locke wasn't a grounded and realistic person. It's just that, like, it's almost like the opposite of The Whale, where all the side characters in The Whale are so so big personalities with so many problems that I don't remember his name in The Whale. Brendan Fraser's character in The Whale. Yeah, he's a very like, no guys, listen to me, think about it for a second, and like a grounding force. Whereas it was like all the side characters in this had to like be that for the main character. And I know it was interesting to see like, yes, Charlie. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting to see Ivan Locke have to like deal with the fact that he believes he's morally uprighteous compared to his past and is breaking the cycle and doing things differently. But I couldn't help but get the ick every time his wife was like, I can't believe you've done this. He's like, no, we got to think of the next practical step. I'm like, yes. What practical step is there? There is no practical step. All logic goes out the window when you betray your family and betray trust.
The practical step should have not do the deed. But
and then he claims, and he goes, she doesn't understand. I did it because she's lonely and I pity her and I had alcohol. Why won't she let me come back to my house? Because you did a shitty thing, Ivan. Mm-hmm. It's shitty. And Ivan's like, but I'm a better man than my father. She's like, I don't care about your father. I care about my family.
I'm tired of chipping concrete off the floor.
Which was very funny. Me, if I was married to someone like that, I'd be like, good fucking riddance. No, what was the other example? No more washing your work clothes 30 times to get all the dust out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it was like a clear choice where he's like because like we can only go off of context clues, and it's like that's it's also like we can only judge the case. I'm not saying that he's a good guy. Like I feel like we got a pretty good idea, but it's just like the conversation he has with his kids and everything, like. As he
wants to be the good dad that he knows his dad wasn't.
And that's like from what we guess. I'm drawing a blank, but it's mainly because I also watched The Witch. But it's
okay.
So it's like my brain's like I gotta go back. Yeah, but it's like his dad, like from the context clues, was never there and just kind of said heck with him. I think
he said, and I quote, couldn't even be bothered to give me a name.
You really paid attention to this movie.
I didn't do anything else, and maybe that's my downfall.
I'm the opposite, where like I have to take notes while watching the movie.
I watched it. Well, I mean, D-Payne got my message last night. You weren't expecting the from me, so you were like, what's wrong? I was like,
well, it was because when you messaged me, I'm in the middle of running Call of Cthulhu. And so I just
You didn't have to answer me.
No, I have to. Because I saw and I'm like, okay. And that's why my answers were the way they were, because I'm just like, I can't have philosophical debates because I'm busy breaking the sanity of my players.
Yeah.
So I was like, just finished Locked. And then I was like, yep, looking forward to this conversation.
But yeah, when I talk about build-up for this movie, there are so many things repeated so often. I was like, it's gotta come up. I'll be there in an hour if there isn't traffic. And then there's police sirens. There's no traffic. Traffic never becomes a problem. And then and then he starts to like become sleepy and delirious because he's driving. And I thought it was 5 a.m. because he makes a comment that's like, I'll be on the phone with you every 5 minutes until the pour goes on at 5:45. And he's talking to his kids and he's like, it's 10 o'clock, go to bed. And I'm like, why is he so tired? And he's like chugging like energy drinks.
I thought it was cough medicine.
Oh, right, because he was sniffling the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was like cold medicine that he was chugging.
But that's a terrible thing to drink when you're driving because you get drowsy.
No, you gotta calm the nerves.
But in any case, I thought like because of his blurred vision and the directorial choices, I was like, oh, he's gonna get into a car accident. That never happens. Not that I wish a car accident upon him, but I thought something would impede his journey. And then, like, he's, like, talking about traffic. And then there's never traffic. And there's constant police sirens. And then he's honking at people like he's going to get into an accident and nothing bad happens. And then, like, he gets these calls that there's complications with the birth. And then he's like, do as I say. And then they do as they say. And everything happens fine. And it's all perfect. And then he gets there, like, 5 minutes after the baby's born instead of right when the baby's born. And I was just like, I don't know the point. I don't know what's happening.
I thought the baby was gonna die.
I thought the baby was gonna die
I
too.
thought the baby was gonna die, and
How
that way he lost
wild.
everything. I was
Yes, how good of an ending
that
would it have been
yeah.
if they call and they go, there's a complication in surgery, and he lost everything in his life, and he has to sit there and think of his life choices when he's lost his job, lost his home, lost his wife. Like, yeah, that
Guys,
would have been a very compelling story.
Can everyone let me know in the comments if Hop should talk like Ivan Locke for the rest of the series? I want to hear her be like, the witches, goats and stuff. Oh, that
When you say
reminds me.
trophic like fucking 50 times, I lose my mind.
That reminds me. I was like, oh yeah, I can tell her about the witch afterwards. So
I didn't watch it yet. But
yeah, I was like, I'll see her in like a couple days. So I'll just like,
yeah.
but that's later.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, there's so many implications and so many like foreshadowing moments that I'm like, this is gonna be important, and none of it's important. So it falls so flat to me that it gets to the end of the story and it goes, yeah, that's a baby sound. I'm coming to the hospital, shift into gear. And
Car
I was like,
explodes. Jason Statham's like,
I was gonna say
comes in
it's
the
the mechanic.
transporter car. Nah, mate.
Yeah.
Gotta rob a bank. I'm gonna go swim now. Because I'm Jason Statham. And bald.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a
That would.
crazy
Oh man,
good.
could you imagine?
No,
if Jason
not Jason Statham.
Yeah, Jason Statham in that role. That would have been because he'd be driving and all of a sudden like we would go look
He
out
gets
the window.
veered off the road by a fucking
No, he'd be
yellow
driving.
sports car.
Everything would be normal. He'd be driving, and then we would get like one of those scenes as it's looking as a truck coming by, and they would cut back, and he's just shirtless.
But yeah, so I saw other people say like, I loved this. It was so cool seeing Tom Hardy not be in an action movie. That doesn't forgive the script.
Mm-hmm.
Good directorial choices does not forgive a script. And I saw what this guy wrote and stuff because I wanted to see. I was like, does he hate women? Perhaps. Is that why he's written a man like this? And then I looked it up, and he's written Peaky Blinders. And
anything else in that voice? Come on. We got 15 more minutes to get more.
Eastern Promises as well.
What about Western Promises?
Couldn't speak to that. And then
I can't speak to Eastern Promises.
I know Strider is big fans of like both of those pieces of media, and he was like, there is violence against women in Eastern Promises, but it's in the context of like, I think it's like a Russian gang. So he's like, it's related to that.
A Russian mob family, according to the Wikipedia.
And then Peaky Blinders is another mob family, and he's like, yeah, there are moments in there, but there are strong female characters, but there is also like a lot of negative portrayals of women. But it's also in a time period where there's a lot of misogyny. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's because like he doesn't like. It almost feels like his whole thing is, as you were saying, because as he repeats a lot, where he's just every time he talks with Bethan.
Yeah, every time he talks to Bethan, she's like, please tell me you love me because you're making this whole drive. He's like, I can't tell you that. I don't love you. I hardly know you.
I was trying to remember who was who, but when he's talking to his wife Katrina, it's always like,
stop throwing up. Shut up.
Well,
I'll be home.
Yeah.
Let me back in.
But he's constantly repeating. It's just like, let's make a plan. He's like, I screwed up. And he's just like, he's trying to grasp onto the straws of, he's like, I can't look.
Yeah,
like,
he's like,
I can't fail for his kids. Like, it seems like that's the more important thing. Cause like,
it doesn't feel like he loves his wife.
Yeah. Like it
feels like he needed a wife to have kids to prove that he's a good dad.
Yeah, and though just the way he's constantly talking was just like, let's make a plan, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, guy,
you screwed up.
No, it's like that, but it's like,
done.
If you wanted to solve this better, you shouldn't have come up and revealed this literally an hour before the kid's about to be born.
The most disgusting thing is when she reveals, you slept with us back to back. Did you catch that as well?
Oh, no, I didn't.
She goes, I've checked my diary. You came home with a stupid grin on your face, and I thought you won an award. And he goes, no, it's because I'm good at work. It's because we got the job done. And she's like, you slept with me that night, right after your work trip, you disgusting pig. And he goes, no, no, no.
Two
and
babies for the price of one.
And she was like, admit it. He goes, fine. I was pretending to be normal and happy so you would never catch on that I cheated on you. And I was like, I'm going to throw up from the ick. It is so strong.
Yeah, and then, like, I felt bad for the kids because they're like, Dad, the game, and just they're going nuts, and he's like, who's your mom? No, I think she's like,
she's in the bath.
Yeah, she's in the can, like, just puking and pooping or whatever. She's having stuff, and it's just like, okay. And
Dad, why did Mom break plates?
yeah, and he's like, he's feeling the aftermath with that, but then at the same time, like, every time Bethan calls, it's just like, and everyone's like, "Are you her partner?" I'm not a partner. I'm the father.
Are you next of kin?
I'm the father. I am the father. That's how he says it.
I know. And he's like, I'm gonna give this child my last name.
I'm
Locke.
I am the father.
I fixed the Locke family last name. Did you? Did you? I'm not convinced.
Well, when he has another argument with the empty back seat, he even goes into that. Because like there is that moment where he's like, see, I fixed it all. We're going to have everything. I'm going to work it out. I'm
going to have my cake and eat it too,
yeah,
and have
Katrina,
the world's tallest building.
And he's like, F you, Ghost Dad. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, the Donald, it ain't going. It's like everything's falling apart. And then it's like,
what was it? Oh, the rebars couldn't even support a kitten fart.
Yeah. And then there's that, and then
he's drinking his cider, and he can't drive, and then he has to call the guy who's at an Indian restaurant, and that also screwed up my timetables because I thought it was really late at night, and the guy's like, I'm at an Indian restaurant, why are you calling? And he's like, because you gave me this number over Christmas. Well, is it Christmas?
What I'm learning from all this is just to find more Irish movies, so that way we can get Irish Hop.
I know you have the one that you really like. Isn't that one Irish? The sad one?
What, Manchester by the Sea?
Yeah.
No, that's New England.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
I assumed Manchester as in like
yeah, I could see
Manchester.
Mm-hmm. Look, just because it has man in the name doesn't mean it's hating on everybody there. But yeah, it's just like he has that like that brief like moment. He's like, "Yep, it's all together," and then it's like everything. Like I think at that moment he's just like, I think even before that, where he's even trying to make himself look like a good guy, where Garrett's like, "No, you're off the job. Tell Donald to pick up the phone." And he's like, "No, you don't have to." And it's like, even then he's like, "No, I'm gonna make this work. I don't have to get paid.
I don't need it for pay." And it's like, yeah, he needs it for his freaking ego because he has a tiny penis.
Oh.
That's ableist of me. I don't care what your penis size is. It has no effect on my opinion of you.
I don't know. I just, that last sentence, I don't know.
He's making up for his tiny ego, his need for therapy.
All he needed was a Ford F-150 lifted with truck nuts.
The tallest tires ever. So that there's someone 5'6" isn't in your sight line. Have you seen those studies? Isn't that wild? People with lifted trucks, if someone's 5'6" and like walking in front of your truck, you can't see them. So that's why lifted trucks are illegal, like slowly becoming more illegal across states.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy who had it at work, I didn't like it because I had to climb up to it to get to Wawa for break. And it's just like, what are you compensating for?
I know. I saw a video of a lady when she opened her doors, automated steps would come out. And I was like,
that'd be nice.
You shouldn't need to take multiple steps to your car.
It was a Ford, a Chevy Geo. Like, no. Yeah, it's, what was it? The other thing that I thought was funny is Locke I think he goes on like a tirade against somebody, and like in multiple times, especially when he's dealing with stuff at work, he's like, we have to be honest, or like it's just even like when he's coming like trying to solve these things, and it's just like it's like his number one priority is to be honest to a certain extent, which is funny because he kept the secret that is ruining his life.
For 7 months.
Yes.
Because the
And
baby's coming early. I was going to tell you sooner, and her water broke. It's like, okay.
no, you weren't. You weren't gonna tell her.
You were going to tell her.
Yeah.
You were hoping she was going to get an abortion. Because you even make a comment and go, she went through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? I pity her. She had nothing in her life. She's 43 and she's lonely and she thought she was going to commit suicide. So I thought maybe if she had a baby, she'd be happier and she'd be able to live her life.
That's why adoption exists. Not for that reason, but it's. I said that and
So
I'm
that
like, no.
lonely 43-year-old
Yeah, the
women.
lonely 43-year-old women can have a kid. It's no, that I said that more as a joke, and I was like, I don't like.
And
that
then
joke.
and then Ivan even literally goes, "It's the pain talking. You don't love me. We don't know each other." And she's like,
Yeah.
"But the nurse says that like maybe you have feelings for me because you wouldn't drive all this way if you didn't have something for me." He's like, "I feel nothing." Hangs up.
Yeah, and it's. Oh man, can you imagine Locke and the lobster? He'd get really well along with the cold-hearted woman.
Yeah, he's just a. I don't know if he's a full-blown sociopath, but he teeters the line.
Yeah. Let's see. What else did I write in here? Yeah, that's right. Like how everyone is work. We said this earlier. I think that's Donald. I can't remember if it's Donald or Gareth. I think it's Donald where he's like, "You're the best man in England." Like as he just got off the phone with his kids, as he's like tearing up because he's realizing like, this isn't gonna go the way my plans wanted, and like, at work he's known as the best man for all the stuff he's doing, but he can't put in the same effort to even like make sure family life is even like anywhere close to that.
Yeah, I like the part where she goes like, "Fuck off for your building," because like she knows he loves work more than he loves his family. Because yeah, in the midst of all of this bullshit that he's putting his family through, and he thinks he can just like recover from magically. Like he even says to his wife, he's like, "I want to know I have a home to come home. I have a home to come to," and she's like, "No."
Are you talking? Are you? Home. It's like, are you still working on the building while you're driving to go see this woman and talk to me? And he's like, "Well, they're pouring concrete this morning," and she hangs up.
Yeah. But yeah, because he gets his son involved, and he's like, in the coat pocket, there's a phone number there, blah, blah, blah. And then she calls, she's like, "Are you making your son do work for you and, like, get you a phone number?" He's like, "Yeah." And then she, like, asks him a series of questions. And then he's like, "No, I care about the family. It's important to me." And she's like, "Do you still want the phone number for that guy?" And he's like, "Of course." Yeah. No. Just hangs up.
And then he gets it. I don't think he gets the number, but he finds out a way.
He does get the number because Donald's like, "I did
Donald
it. I figured it out all on my own. You're gonna be so proud of me." Like he's his dad.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I was just about to say that. Like Donald, his relationship with Donald is like, he doesn't look Donald as like, because he talks how good.
It's not
like,
an equal. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the way he says how good Donald is to Gareth, he's like, he's a good boy. He knows what he's doing. He'll be able to run. Like he's an excellent dude.
He'll figure it out.
And then it's like the following phone call was like the way he talks with Donald is the same way he talks to his kids, and it's just and it's not really in a loving manner. It's just like, this is what we have to do. Okay, do this, and it's like, don't ask me questions. He does speak
down to him a lot, and like he even like says things to him like. He like worked up Donald to be like this good guy, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, the Polish people at the lumberyard, best concrete farmer I know." And like I could hear in Donald's voice, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll go get them to help do the rebar." So. That one also threw off my timetables a lot because he's like, they got to stop by 10. You have to get there in a half hour. And I was like, I swear like 3 phone calls ago, he said he had 45 minutes left to his drive. And it feels like it's been 45 minutes.
Yeah. The only thing that I really enjoyed about the timing was he's like, "It's going to take me an hour and a half to get there." And I'm like, wait a second.
That's the length of the movie.
It's the length of the movie. Exactly. Which it's like, I'm pretty sure that's what a bunch of people like in the reviews that you're reading was like, "This is so awesome."
Most movies time skip. It's like, maybe
it should have.
I don't think this movie would be better served.
Oh yeah, no. I'm saving like my general thoughts. I'm just like, let's just keep picking on this character because he's literally written to be picked on, I feel like. But I think a lot of the people on the internet didn't get that. But hey, also I found out, who is Cassidy? I'm trying to remember, was Cassidy the guy who I'm trying to remember if was Cassidy the guy that he needed the number of?
Yes, Cassidy is the official that works in the
Yes.
council because they couldn't get the stop and go blocked off for them.
I clicked on him. He's in Alien 3.
A lot of the side characters are actually like pretty like well-known actors. Like I think one of his sons is Tom Holland.
Eddie. I don't know which one that is.
I recognize the voice for Donald. I don't remember what else he's in.
I'll look at it because I have the Wikipedia up. Andrew Scott. He is in Spectre as C. I don't know what that is. I was about to be like, he's in these movies, and I realized, like, I
don't really watch
know.
Movies.
He was in Sherlock, the TV show.
That guy.
He was Menominee.
Moriarty?
Yeah, that one.
The baddie.
Oh, he's a pretty cool guy. Let's see. We lost the accent, so I'm assuming we've gotten to the end.
I think I've covered. So I feel better knowing that, like, I guess. Then let me just ask you, what were your thoughts about the ending? Because I know I talked about mine.
I thought there would have been more weight to the movie if the child died. As I said, I think that would have been a very ending,
rounded, heavy, like thought-provoking way to
where it's just he lost it all. But at the end of this, it was like, okay, the kid's still alive, and so now he has to, knowing from what we saw of this, he's going to do everything that he can to raise this kid and the other two kids from his marriage. And the thing is that, like, as I was sitting there and watching as the camera was pulling off, I was like, is this whole situation a similar case that his dad was in? Like, I was wondering, because the whole thing, it's like he's
cyclical,
yelling.
You're saying?
Yeah,
like,
I guess
it's repeating.
Yeah,
because it's generational trauma,
or like it's something similar. Like, maybe not the same extent, but it's just like, did his dad try to put in, like, and we don't get that answer. So it's like, that's something I'm wondering, because it's like we see.
Yeah, what did we got the answer? If I had a shovel, I'd dig it up, and they'd have a nice break in hell from you.
Yeah, and like we see what Locke is dealing with, but going forward, like, we know that his two kids from his marriage, his wife is going to not paint him in the best light, which probably means that his kids, no matter what type of relationship they had, we're also laying out. We had like 10 seconds. I'm just gonna stop the timer. Like, they're probably going to look at him the same way that he looks at his dad, where it's just like, you had it all and you ruined it. I'm not going to turn out like you. Like, I'm not going to do all that. And then it's like, however, like, as standoffish as he was with Bethan, and just telling everyone's like, I'm the father, I'm not her partner, I'm nothing to her, I don't love her, there's no connection. And it's like, well, how much of a relationship is she going to allow, like, him with the kid? And so it's, I don't know, it was one of those things I was wondering, like, it's not the answer to the, like, it's not answered in the movie, and it's not even like one of the things that is not even, like, you're not supposed to think about it. I'm wondering how much, like, if at all, his dad was not in the same situation, but maybe something similar, where in his mind he was trying to do the best he could to be part of Locke's family, but then he did something where his mother or whatever said no. And then, so it's like,
there is the constant discussion of, like, having to like find a point in your life where you understand that the people that raise you do the best with what they have available to them, right?
Yes.
Whether or not it's a positive or negative on your upbringing, sometimes you have to recognize like they did the best they could with what they had. Not true of all cases, right? There were some extreme cases where it's like, no, get them out of there. But yeah, it sounds like it could be a possibility that Locke was essentially what Beth Ann's kid is, right? There was a reason why he wasn't part of his life.
That's what I felt like why he was putting so much effort into it, where it felt like Locke felt more connection to how that kid was going to be raised than Beth Ann. Like, because the whole movie is like, he doesn't say it in so many words. Well, he says it in a lot more words of, I don't really care for you as a person, but I'm not going to let this life that I helped create
not have a father figure.
Yeah, like, he says multiple times, like, he's not going to, I think it's a he or she, whatever, I can't remember. The kid's not going to know who I am. Like, he wants to be part of the kid's life because his dad wasn't part of his life. But because of that, like, that drive or that, like, desire, it's ruining the already established family and thing that he was doing, because like just how he was telling Donald, is just like, yeah, the concrete's like that, and then there's gonna be one little crack and the whole building's gonna come down. I'm like, just like your life tonight, you made one little mistake. Well, it was probably, and so like there was a lot of there was a lot of metaphors and all that stuff like throughout there where it's just like where Locke like doesn't get it because he's just like business, and then it's just like, well, I lost everything, but okay, here's the kid, and then goes. So
yeah, I think the thing that I thought was upsetting about the ending is the way that it was shot made me feel like he thought he was getting a second chance, and I was like, a character like this doesn't deserve to start over with another family.
It's like, but
because like, unfortunately, men are fertile for way older. Because, like, you know, they did say that the person he had the one-night stand with was, like, 43 or so. Yeah. And that is, like, a difficult age to carry a child. Whereas men, so, like, in theory, if it is a cyclical thing and he finds himself repeating bad behaviors, he could, in my mind, I was like, so what? He's going to try and live with this 43-year-old, help this child out in the beginning of his life while trying to go back to his previous family. Whereas if I was Katrina, I would not bring him back in, because I think she has every right to say once is just as important as like never. Yeah. Like they both have very strong meanings when it comes to trust and being able to have trust with each other.
You're not going to do Katrina's voice?
I had the volume really low, so anyone on the phone was just very quiet.
So now, oh wait.
Maybe I hate women.
Truth comes out. Oh, okay. I know the cold open now. There's a lot of cold open opportunities.
And then, but yeah, and then so for the way that I could foresee it, based on how it doesn't, like, it feels like he almost feels like he's been unshackled and free, that he's going to be like, this is my second chance to prove that I'm still a good dad, but being in a loveless relationship, what are you going to do? You're going to repeat the behaviors that got you into this position in the first place. And he's going to find a 44-year-old who's lonely and sad, and he pities.
Gotta keep going up by 10, so 54. Or 53.
It would be wild to find out he got a 53-year-old pregnant.
That's pretty much the inciting incident of Here Comes the Boom.
But anyway,
that's what we're watching next now. Sorry.
Your final thoughts. I guess the first thing we usually ask: would you recommend this?
Okay, so I did enjoy the film, not so much for the character. I thought, like, Tom Hardy. I was like, what's his name?
He's a good actor.
Yeah, like, because all I knew about this movie, like, I didn't know anything about it. Like, I just remember listening to it on a podcast, and someone was like, hey, this movie doesn't sound like, from all I heard about the movie is pretty much what I told Hop about this movie, where it's just like,
dude in a car,
Tom Hardy is just acting his butt off. Like he
While sitting on it.
yes, and like
He doesn't stand up once.
yeah.
Oh, in the very beginning.
Well, yeah, he
when
walks.
he has to get into his car.
He gets in the car. And
and
it's
he's
just,
also not a stand-up guy.
much more of a sit down, maybe lay down kind of guy.
Maybe a letdown kind of guy. He is a lay down guy. He did lay down with a couple women.
At least 2 recorded in this movie. But no, like the only reason, because I remember telling Hop, I was like, hey, this is one of the movies I just want in there because of what I heard about it, which was the more of how the movie was set up, where it's just the whole thing is shot inside a car, and all it is we don't see the other people talking on the phone. It's just Tom Hardy, where we see him acting, talking on the phone, and all this stuff. And I was like, that sounds interesting. Like I want to see it kind of just for this alone, because I heard like it doesn't, like, you tell someone, yeah, the whole movie is a dude sits in a car and makes phone calls, and it's like, how is that going to be cool for an hour and a half?
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's not mundane. It is.
I think it's paced.
It had my attention.
Yes, I think the pacing is done really well, because it's like there's times where he's trying to call like his wife and like she won't pick up, and then it's just like
he starts to slowly get interrupted every phone call he gets.
Yeah, and it's just as everything builds up. So like I think the pacing, the way it builds is good. Like I think as a movie and the way it's written compared to like some other movies that we've seen, like not even in this. Well, I'm not even gonna bring the Christmas stuff. That's a whole nother thing.
But like I think this could be comparable to Ghost Story, where it's kind of like a single setting.
Yes,
mostly. Ghost Story does have like other settings, kind of, but
like I do think like, it's. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think the single setting description put my expectations too high because we watched The Whale first.
Yeah.
And I did message you. I was like, oh, when you told me it was like single setting, interesting directorial choices, and a lot of like exterior character acting, I was like, oh, so like The Whale. And then I was like, the acting's good, the directorial choices are good, but I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of this.
Yeah, it's like I don't. That's like I'm just thinking of like the story graph. Whenever you finish a book, it's like, are the characters lovable? Not really. No. not applicable. They're made to not.
I could have empathy with quite a few of them, but not the main one.
Yeah, like Locke isn't written to be liked, and if you do like him,
go to therapy.
Yeah.
If you relate to him, go to therapy.
Yeah. So
therapy.
I relate, but I'm not going because I'm perfect.
You are Locke. Good for you.
Yeah. Well,
I wish I could go through life the same way.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
I am riddled with anxiety. Well, I guess he is also anxious, but he flips it into a that makes me stronger, better, faster.
I'm the
penultimate guy.
But yeah, so it's just like, even though I didn't really like the character and I didn't like what he put his family through, I thought the way the story was told was interesting. Of just like, because it starts off like, hey, I'm not coming home, something, or like it starts off where he's just like, hey, I won't be at the job site tomorrow. You have to go do this. And he's like, what? Why, what's wrong? He's like, family emergency. And then he like calls someone else, same thing, family emergency. And it's like, what's this family emergency? Like, and how far away? Because it makes it seem like he lives far away.
Like a death of the family.
Yeah, and then it's just like, he calls home and he's like, hey, tell your mom to call me back, but I'm not going to be home. Something came up. And it's just like, okay. And I think I wrote, well, I think it was like right after, because then like Beth Ann calls, and like for a little while we just know there's something wrong with Beth Ann. Like it's still, the movie's not long,
it opens with,
but it's just like,
you can tell the doctors to call me at this number or something.
Yeah, it's like
that,
we know something's wrong. It's like, oh, is Beth Ann like his sister or like something? It's like, what's going on? And then it's just like within like the first 20, at the end of 20 minutes, it's like, oh, that's his kid. And that's not
like,
his wife.
have you told your wife you're having a baby with another woman? That's what I'm going to do on the call next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh. And then it's like, at that point, you're like, well, I know what this movie's going to be. and so, like, it's not like it's a mystery, but it's just like the way it kind of sets out, and you're like, because then he keeps getting phone calls like, what the heck, and just like everyone's like cursing him out. It's just like, whatever, and then just how he's trying to justify his actions and everything. But there's like small little editing things that I thought was interesting, because I think, if I remember, there's a point where he gets a call from home, and it's, I think, the call after he tells his wife that he cheated and he's going to see the birth of the kid, because at that point he's driving over those like speed grooves in the road.
Rumble strips.
Yeah, the rumble
whatever,
strips.
yeah.
I think over in England, if I remember when I was over there, they kind of have them to be like, hey, just, they're not like necessarily on the side. I think they have them there just to like, hey, there's going to be like a slowdown point or something. They're kind of used for that as well. And they time it so that way it sounds like a heartbeat as he's driving over the rumble strips, as he's looking at the call from his wife, as he knows, like, I just told her what I did and she slammed the phone on me. And so there's like small little touches that I'm like, yeah, that was neat. There was neat little things, and like all the other stuff is just how that we mentioned before is like how he views people and interacts with them, and like I don't think it's the main character. Locke is not a great character. He's not a role model. He's not someone we should look up to. However, I do think the way the movie, even if like everything that's going in there isn't like what we would want to happen, or the ending could be stronger, I felt like the way things were paced and the way we gained information and the way people reacted to the information was done really well, where it's just like an hour and a half of movie, like it's not like it flew by, but I was invested to find out how he was going to keep putting his foot in his mouth and just ruining his relationship with everybody. So yeah, like I'm not like the I don't agree with what was it like, now I'm forgetting what other reviews that you mentioned where it's like Locke's a good guy or whatever it was.
No, it was that like, this is like a depiction of what it's like in life, because everyone wants to beat you down and doesn't want to understand you, but you have to keep on trucking, essentially, because he's driving. He's like,
that would have made sense if Locke wasn't the inciting reason why they're having this problem.
Yeah, like that doesn't fly as a moral when it's a preventable thing. He could have talked to people beforehand. He could have like not abandoned everybody for his own self-preservation for what he believes is a higher moral ground than literally putting up a building he thinks is important because it's like the most concrete being poured in Europe in like history, but he decides that this is more important. It's more important than his wife. It's more important than his kids. It's more like his priorities are just like, and he's literally reading and driving.
Yeah. Don't we all wish we could do that?
I don't wish to commit vehicular manslaughter.
Well, not like we want the technology to eventually come where we can.
Apple provision.
Yeah. This is great. I will say though, it's just like, who get out of my way, Word document. I don't need you anymore. Katrina, like, just the 180 switch of when Locke is just like, hey, I got something. He's like, hey, I got the sausages and I'm wearing the shirt. Hey, where the boys in here waiting? He's like, I'm not coming home.
I know, like, clearly the family was doing everything for him, too, and he couldn't even appreciate that, because the family was like, Dad, we got you your favorite beer, we got you your favorite dinner, I know Mom doesn't like rooting for sports, but she's happy for you, and she wants to be able to participate for once. She never wears the shirt. This is the first time.
She's hoping for kid number 3 now.
And then he's out here going, okay, but, like, scrap it. And then instead of, like, being polite, like, I understand he doesn't want to tell the news in front of the boys because their mom is clearly going to have a negative reaction. He knows it's going to be a bad reaction because he's done something that elicits a bad reaction. And instead of just going, like, trying to ease her into it, he goes, just like, go upstairs. Just go upstairs.
Yeah. And like I thought there was going to be a plot point where the kid that was on the other line of the phone was going to hear it.
The youngest, or
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
Where they're like, go hang up the phone. I think I even wrote lines like, that kid's not going to hang up the phone. But it's like...
You're going to eavesdrop. It's
Yeah.
the 90s. Or 2000s. Because he has a BlackBerry.
The only other thing I would say about this movie, if I was Locke, and for some reason I got myself in that situation, well, Hop, you're very much allowed to be one of the people that calls me up and calls me the biggest idiot, because I don't know how I get in that situation. But two, I think I would just drive the car off the highway myself.
I thought he was going to kill himself a couple times, yeah.
Mainly because...
They showed the arrows and the curve, and I was like, is he going to slow down? And then he took it very gently, and I was like, good for you.
Yeah,
Not saying that I thought you should do something else, but I don't know.
I was like, if I get annoyed if I'm in a group message and people message each other within 5 seconds each other, like if I get 3 to 4
like
messages,
buzz,
I'm like,
yeah.
I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world. I couldn't imagine having
stacking phone calls.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere where, I think it was in a Wikipedia, they said it was like 36 phone calls altogether.
That sounds about right. Because they're very sporadic in the beginning, and he's initiating the phone calls in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then in the end, it's person after person after person calling him. Like, the freaking guy couldn't let go of his ego long enough to get the job done by a different site manager. Whatever. Anyway, you did not answer my question. Would you recommend this movie?
Oh. I think I know why I went through all that. I would because I recommended it to somebody because of the way the story is told and the way information is dealt out. Not so much like, hey, poopy characters, go watch. But
Okay, I can see that, because like I don't.
But I've
been very careful, because I've been saying I don't like the script. I didn't say I don't like the acting. I didn't say I don't like the setting. I didn't say I don't like the pacing. I specifically do not like.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. It's like
But I just mean like I don't want people to think they're like, but what about the uniqueness of the film? Okay, good for the film, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I'm listening to this guy just to have all the things he wants in life because he's a white guy.
This was the first episode that Hop actually paid attention to the movie, and now this is what we get.
I pay attention plenty.
I'm joking.
No, I did literally say I did nothing to distract myself. I laid down and I said all my focus is going in on the movie, and I went.
And then this was the
one.
This was the one. Like,
this is one.
Never again.
Because like Midsummer in the beginning, because I knew it was a longer film, and like. Mm-hmm. The director usually does a slower pace build up for it. I was taking care of like some things on the side, and then once it got to the point where we got to the location that everybody recognizes for Midsummer, then I put all my stuff away because like I knew the setup would be a little bit smaller and a little bit more dialogue focused versus like details. Yeah. But I know you said there were details I missed in the beginning of Midsummer, so I might give that a rewatch. But in any case, for me personally, I don't want to have this discussion again with anybody else. I didn't suffer so much to the point where I feel like I need to make other people watch it to have the conversation.
That was me.
I think having the conversation with you is enough to like get the worms in my brain to stop wiggling around and to calm down.
Now you understand what I say. You don't need to interact with this. I just need to get it out so my brain can stop focusing. You had my brain for what it's like 90% of the time.
Yeah, this is what happened when I like only focused on one thing and I absorbed everything happening, and I was just like, I think I watched it with my eyebrows furrowed. I was like, I'm
gonna find Strider on Steam and be like, hey, you should watch this movie. Hop really likes it.
I complained about it immediately afterwards. He's like, his perspective is from other media from the director, and he's a writer-director for like a lot of other things that are very popular, and that's fine. Good for that guy.
I don't think you mean that, but go ahead. No.
But I do not want to entertain this discussion again, and I don't want to put someone through, kind of like Maddie said, like, in the way that, like, when you recommend things to people, they end up being an extension of yourself. Mm-hmm. So, while I can appreciate, like, this is a unique pacing for a movie that really, like, looks at how much emotional turmoil can happen in like a short period of time. I do appreciate it for that aspect. But that like if I wanted to like have someone experience like a contained setting for a movie, I would just ask them to watch The Whale, because like the emotional beats in that one I just find are a little bit of, I guess I would say they're healthier emotional beats to grasp onto and then talk them out. Versus like this movie, all the emotional beats don't feel healthy to talk out, because depending on your personal perspectives, it can either go, I don't see the problem, or I'm frustrated by this movie. And I don't think it's a healthy emotional outlet type of movie for someone to watch if they're interested in something with a reduced setting and strict character study.
Yeah. Actually, the people that I mentioned to watch it were actually on the show, John and Elizabeth. And,
Okay.
And so, because like, well, like as you could see when John and I, when we were all talking about The Lobster, he was just like that. He loves talking about stuff like that, and so, I figured that, and then I just thought that'd be fun because Elizabeth is a therapist by trade.
I could tell before she said she was a therapist by some of the language, because I've been in therapy now for like 3-4 years. So there were certain phrases, and I was like, like,
if you guys go
like the Pavlov dog.
Yeah. You guys go back and you look and you just see like Hop's eye twitch, like, huh? What is this?
Where's that journal I have of taking notes? I've heard this before.
I'm sorry, boss. So yeah, that's Locke. Take it as you want.
Like I said, like it's not bad. So I guess like from a film standpoint, it's not bad. So I give it a neutral, like,
yeah,
at your own risk.
Yeah, it's I don't know, because like both, for the most part, I didn't do any research for any of the movies that we watch, and I don't know. Well, you didn't do research for this one, so it's like I
just know more or less most of these. If I haven't already watched them, it's more like I've just seen memes, like Hereditary memes before I watched Hereditary River. There's plenty of Midsummer memes. I know a lot of people that were like, they told me I would like The Witch and that I should have watched it already, because The Witch came out much earlier than Midsummer and Hereditary, if I remember correctly.
Well, I'm ready to have conversations on religious trauma with you.
Oh! Twizzler suit?
No, not to that extent.
We haven't mentioned The Cell in a while, so I figured I'd give you the layup.
Yeah, we need to sell too. I want to watch. I don't want to, but I would watch it for content.
Okay.
That being said, it's not on the docket. But anyway, that being said, yeah,
next week is Life After Beth.
Yeah.
So if you also want to watch Toxic Relationships, there you go.
And a different extent where they just can't let people go. But yeah, we have Kathy with that episode, and oh my goodness, there was a line that I thought was a really fun cold open, but I'm like, out of context, it was like, oh, this makes Kathy like not look intelligent, so I'm like, I can't use it. So I'm like, it was a really funny one, but you can
bully me all you want. Don't bully our guests.
I didn't. That's why I found something else where I'm like, well, I don't even bully you. Like, I think the thing I did the most for like bullying you for a cold open, and I sent it to you, was like,
it's like me saying I hate you or something.
No, it was something where I don't remember what we were talking about, but it was like a very clear cut, and so that way you're.
Oh yeah, where I think I said don't cut that, and you're like, whoop.
Yeah, I forget what it was something, but I remember sending it to you, and I knew if you.
Maybe it was like, I quit this podcast, but not really, and you're like, whoop.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Something extreme.
I don't even remember what episode. It was like the old format, I think, but yeah, it was one of those things. It was funny. I'll tell you what it was. It is one of the great philosophy debates that happened for 2 seconds. But yeah, I was like, no, and so I found something different, because like in context, it's just like what I said was very confusing, but out of context, it makes didn't put her in the best light. And I'm like, no, we can find something else. I don't care if I look stupid. I'm the one editing.
Yeah, I don't care if I look stupid. I'm out here screaming about how. People.
There is going to be.
I gave you plenty of material.
Man, I want more Irish movies. I want more Irish Hop.
Oi.
Oi.
I've also been watching reality TV shows
from
that
Ireland?
are like British. There was a British one I was watching for a while, and then there was an Australian one. So I was doing a lot of no.
Yeah, I heard people say that a bunch.
I don't currently speak to any Australians anymore, so I'm allowed to do that now. I'm not going to offend anyone that I know.
We can find.
And if they're still listening to content I make, move on. What? No, I didn't say that.
I will. Hey, move on, you turd. I don't know who it is, but I'll say it. Yeah. So anyway, there's that, and then in 2 weeks, not only will you get The Witch, but you also get the intro topic that I hinted at because I see it right there.
And then we'll have officially been past the halfway point 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
Because we don't announce it in next week's episode.
Yep.
Because next week's episode was recorded
at the beginning.
4 months ago.
It was recorded on December 19th.
We're very proactive.
There was a reason. The same reason why Maddie was recorded in the beginning of the year.
So yeah, but we have still 3 more guests. We just haven't confirmed the last.
Four more guests.
I didn't fill out this one.
Me neither. That's the thing. That's something else we have to talk about real quick. That one I need to ask. But anyway, that is it, everyone. Thank you for listening, and let us know what you think of Locke if you watched it. But until next time, talk to y'all later. Peace.